This is a Roll to Hit Gaming First Look. In this video, we begin our game showcase. The first look covers components, rules, and setup. It is designed to give you a quick introduction to a game you might have interest in. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Let's head into the game room for your Roll to Hit Gaming First Look host.
Hello everybody, I'm Chip Crawford from Roll to Hit Gaming. Travel with me to the hills and valleys of Portugal as we take a first look at Vinhos Deluxe Edition, designed by Vital Lacerda and published by Eagle-Gryphon Games. Will Vinhos have us raising our glasses in cheers, or will it drive us to drink? Let's find out together. In Vinhos, you play the role of a wine producer in Portugal trying to make a name for yourself. You must demonstrate your business acumen by promoting your label and establishing the best reputation at home and abroad. Competition is fierce. Only the best labels can survive the test of time. Over a period of 6 years, you will expand your business by establishing estates, local branches of your company, in the different regions of Portugal, buying vineyards and building wineries there. You can hire skilled enologists and capable farmers to help you increase the quality of your wine. Each year begins with a weather forecast for the growing season and ends with the wine production. Optimal climate conditions can provide exceptional vintages, from which you can produce high-quality wines, while cloudy weather and heavy rain usually have devastating effects. The only way to produce palatable wines from such a yield is by expanding your estates or putting enologists, farmers, or even wine experts to work. With time, your wine will mature and become more valuable, but only if you've built a cellar in which it can age. Profit margins for wine producers can be tenuous, but you can increase your liquid cash by selling your wines to local Portuguese establishments such as the Casa de Fados, the hotel, or the Enoteca. These sales make it much easier to expand your estates and pay your employees' salaries. But it takes more than money to earn prestige. In order to make a name for yourself on the international market, you must meet the requirements of various countries by exporting high-quality wines. Every few years, the wine tasting fair provides an opportunity for global press for the best winemakers. Being chosen as the best wine is essential to your company's prestige and can make all the difference in your long-term success. 3 influential wine industry magnates scrutinize the wines presented at the fair. Each would like to offer you some special privileges, but only if your wine meets their expectations. It's up to you to decide the best time to announce which wine will represent you at the fair. An early press release will allow you to start calling in favors from an interested magnate immediately, but waiting until the last moment could grant your wine that extra maturity and allow you to better know which features will be most appreciated by the judges. The winner is the player with the most victory points at the end of the game. Vinhos Deluxe comes with a large game board divided into many areas. At the board's heart is the action selection area and the turn track. In Vinhos Deluxe, players take a series of 9 different actions throughout play, and the rounds and round phases are tracked within this area. Above the action selection area is a space for the vintage tiles that give details about the current year's weather. Vintage can affect wine production, quality, and which traits are favored by the powerful wine magnates each player is trying to impress. Also above the action selection area is an area to track player order. Players' discs are arranged here throughout the course of play and updated as the current player order changes. To the left of the action selection area are the 4 types of wine experts players can employ to grant bonuses and help impress the wine magnates. To the right of the action selection area is the wine fair. At certain times during the game, players will send their best works to the fair to try to impress the powerful wine magnates, gain their favor, and acquire other benefits from their production. Below the action selection area are the shipping area, where players load barrels for export to gain end-game victory points, the 3 local establishments that will buy your wine, the Casa de Fados, the hotel, and the Enoteca, and the storage area for the enologist, farmers, cellars, and vineyards. In the upper right side of the board are the powerful wine magnates. Players who impress them can gain more barrels in which to export and sell more wine, and they provide bonus tiles of different types. Along the left side of the board are the different regions of Portugal. Here, players buy vineyards from those regions and raise their renown. A region's renown can be used to raise the quality of wine in order to export or sell it at a higher level. Each region contains 4 vineyard tiles, 2 that produce red grapes and 2 that produce white grapes. Each region is shuffled during setup, and vineyards must be bought in order. Finally, around the outside edge of the board is the victory point track. Player markers are moved along this during play as victory points are gained, and during final scoring to determine the winner. Setup in Vinhos Deluxe begins with laying out the board. First, lay out the game board on the table with special vintage 2016 side face up. Next, each player does the following. Choose a color from orange, yellow, blue, or purple. Then take the following items and place them in front of you to create your supply. 2 barrels of the chosen color, 9 discs of the chosen color, 1 action marker of the chosen color, and the player board with special vintage 2016 side face up. On each player board there are 5 estates. Each estate has 3 slots for vineyards and wineries, and a warehouse with 2 slots for wine. Place a region marker, 1 disc from your supply, on the first slot of each estate on your player board. Note that placing a region marker disc on the first slot of each estate will remind you to put these discs on the map whenever you establish a new estate. If you're playing with fewer than 4 players, return these extra player boards and their components of unused player colors to the game box. Place your scoring marker, a disc from your supply, on the board on the number 0 on the score track. During the game, every time you earn victory points, move your scoring marker forward on the score track accordingly. Remember that if the VP symbol is green, you earn those victory points immediately. If the VP symbol is purple, you do not earn these victory points until the end of the game. Next, let's take a look at the vintage tiles and the player order section. Return the 0 vintage tile to the game box. It will not be part of this game. Shuffle the remaining vintage tiles and place them as a face-down deck in the appropriate square on the game board. Flip the top tile up. Next, each player provides a player order marker, another disc from their supply. Place these player order markers in a random order on the top line of the player order to establish the player order for the first year. Next comes the wine tiles. Place the wine tiles next to the board to form a common supply. At the wine tasting fair, players will earn fair points according to the value of their wines and the wine experts they send to the fair. Each player places a fair scoring marker, another disc from their supply, on the number 0 on the fair score track. During the game, each time you earn fair points, move your fair scoring marker forward on the fair score track accordingly. Each player places a colored disc, another from their supply, on the fair logo between the fair booths. Now let's look at the magnate tiles. Create a shuffled face-down deck of magnate action tiles with the green bags, composed as follows. In a 4-player game, use all the tiles and fill all the display spaces. In a 3-player game, return tiles of the 4-player icon to the box. Fill only 9 of the spaces, leaving the spaces marked with 4 players empty. In a 2-player game, return the tiles with the 3+ or 4-player icon to the box. Fill only 6 tiles of the spaces, leaving the spaces marked with 3+ or 4 players empty. Place the remaining deck face down next to the board. Next, create a shuffled face-down deck of multiplier tiles with the purple backs, and place it next to the board. In a 2-player game, use only the 10 tiles with an ornament on the front, plus the 2 tiles shown in the right image. Each player places 2 barrels in the space to the right of each magnate. Now for banknotes, also known as bagos. The first player receives 19 bagos, the second player 20, the third, if any, receives 21, and the fourth, if any, receives 22 bagos. Place your banknotes in front of you and create a personal supply. Everyone can see how much money you have. Then place the remaining banknotes next to the game board to form a common supply. Place the enologist on the game board as follows. In a 2-player, 3-player, or 4-player game, you'll have 7, 10, or 12 enologists. Place the farmers on the game board as follows. In a 2, 3, or 4-player game, you'll have 9, 12, or 16 farmers. Return any excess enologists and farmers to the game box. Now for the action area and the year track. Place your action marker in the center square of the quadrille in the past press release area. Then, place the year taxation marker in the top left space of the year track. Next to the action selection area, separate the wine expert tiles by the depicted feature, taste, appearance, aroma, and alcohol content, to form 4 decks. Shuffle each deck, then place them face up in the appropriate spaces on the board. In the storage area, place the cellar tiles on the board. In a 2, 3, or 4-player game, you'll have 8, 10, and 12 cellars. Return any excess cellars to the game box. Place the winery tiles on the board as follows. In a 2, 3, or 4-player game, you'll have 11, 15, and 19 wineries. Return any excess wineries to the game box. Now to fill the Vineyards and Region Renown cubes. Place all of the Region Renown cubes on the board. Separate the vineyard tiles by the number in the band at the top. It indicates the vineyard's region of origin, to form 9 little decks. Shuffle each deck and then place it in the appropriate region inset, cost side up. Place the port wine tiles in the Douro inset, region 3. In a 2, 3, or 4-player game, play with 7, 8, and 9 regions. You may use the number cards from the solitaire game to randomly select the unused regions. Return unused region vineyard tiles to the game box. As a suggestion for your first play, with 3 players, remove Setúbal, region 7. With 2 players, remove Setúbal and the Algar, regions 7 and 9. Now it's time to select your initial vineyards, establishing your first estate. In player order, each player will receive the following: 1 vineyard of your choice, 1 wine tile you produce before the game starts. Note that each region has a different characteristic. Here is the procedure you must follow when it is your turn to establish your first estate. Choose any region. Take 1 Region Renown cube from the common supply and place it on an empty cube space in that region. Take the topmost vineyard tile from the deck in the chosen region for free. Take the disc from the first slot of an estate on your player board and place it on the region slot on the map. Place the chosen vineyard tile on the estate slot from which you just took the disc, with the region side face up. Take a wine tile of value 2 and place it on your player board in the leftmost slot of the warehouse in the estate where you just placed the vineyard tile, with the red side or white side face up, depending on the color of wine depicted at the top of the vineyard tile. Note, more than one player can choose the same region. Now select your initial magnate action tile. In reverse player order, each player takes 1 magnate action tile from the magnate area and places it face up beside his player board. After everyone has taken a tile, refill the display with the new tiles from the top of the magnate action tiles deck. Then place the rest of the action deck atop the multiplier deck, so there is now only 1 combined magnate tile deck. Congratulations, you have started your winemaking business.
Thank you for joining Roll to Hit Gaming for another First Look. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, please click the like and subscribe buttons. Find us on Facebook and Twitter, and join us in the conversation in the comments below. We'll see you next time, and as always, never give up, never surrender.